Selena Gomez's wedding came up, and there was a joke floating around that I said, "Hey, you beat me to the altar." That's false. What are the rules? I honestly don't know the game we're talking about, but no, I never said that. I did get to see Selena on her wedding day, and she was the most elegant, gorgeous vision I've ever seen. Nothing compares to how beautiful she looked. I love her and wish her all the happiness in the world. Benny, her husband, is the best, so funny, and just the best guy. I actually made a speech at the wedding, but deliberately avoided mentioning my own engagement. I thought, nobody wants me stealing the spotlight on her day. So I kept it about her. I did poke fun about how we used to dress back in 2008, the year we met as teenagers. That year was wild, the era of Deep Phoenix and the Gilded Age characters. It was the time of aggressively colorful skinny jeans, and everyone was saying everything was amazeballs. Mrs. Astor hated it. Selena's favorite outfit back then was a long tank top, skinny jeans, a tiny vest, and Chucks. That was her uniform. As for me, I always looked like I was late for a cowboy-themed junior prom. I reminisced about 2008, expressed how happy I am for Selena and how special it's been to be part of her life, without making it about me. Switching gears, I joked that Ed Sheeran probably found out about my engagement on Instagram. That's true. He doesn't really have a working phone. He even wrote an album about an old phone he had, but these days, he's basically unreachable by phone. It's one of the things I love about him. He's super eccentric. When I want to FaceTime him, I have to check who I've texted recently, because he's never on there. Getting a hold of him is like using the bat signal. You have to email him first, and then if you want to FaceTime, someone has to find him an iPad to use. He's like a kid with an iPad, and then he'll watch an episode of Bluey. He's one of my favorite people, but he's not a phone person. When the news of my engagement came out, I realized, oh no, we forgot to call Ed. That's family for you, I love him, but he just doesn't do phones. Now, about the song Wood. That's WOD, for those watching. It's a great tune. Did you come up with the melody first for that song? I brought it into the studio wanting a throwback, timeless-sounding song. I had this idea about knocking on wood and all these superstitions. It started innocently, but then went off the rails. We started vibing, and I don't know how we got here, but I love the song so much. After the concert at Arrowhead Stadium, where Travis Kelce had told his podcast listeners about trying to give me a bracelet with his phone number but failing, I got a strange call the next morning. I usually don't answer unknown numbers, but I had just made coffee and the phone rang. I picked up. The voice said, "Hey, this is Travis, the guy with the love bracelet. Sorry, I can't give it to you." He said it in such a funny, sincere voice that I had to sit down. I couldn't believe he'd actually called. The audience laughed, and Jimmy Fallon pretended to clutch his chest, calling it a romantic Taylor Swift start. I nodded, eyes sparkling. Travis said he was listening to my songs again and felt the urge to do something crazy, like call someone he'd just seen on stage the day before. He wasn't sure if I'd answer, and would leave a message if I didn't, but luckily I did. What made me laugh was how he stuttered when he spoke, a huge football player with a deep, powerful voice sounding like a high school kid calling his crush for the first time. The conversation lasted nearly 45 minutes. We talked about the concert, then mundane things, food, trips, music we both love. He asked, "If you weren't Taylor Swift, what would you do?" I said, "Maybe open a little coffee shop in Nashville." He paused, then said, "Well, I'd be the one making you coffee every morning." The room burst into laughter. Fallon joked, "So, he had you after that first cup of coffee?" I laughed and tilted my head. Not really. But that was the moment I realized he wasn't just a sports star. He was genuine, listened, and made me feel at peace. What stood out was how Travis didn't try to impress or brag. He didn't talk about his accomplishments or try to make me laugh. Instead, he told me how much he admired the way I lived and made music. Then he asked, "Do you ever get tired of being so bright all the time?" That question made me quiet because not many ask it. I said, "Yeah, sometimes I get really tired." He replied, "So when you need a break, I'll be there for you to just be yourself." Fallon looked at me with genuine emotion, saying, "That was the sweetest confession I've ever heard." I smiled and nodded. That was when I knew this wasn't just a random conversation anymore. After a few more calls, we decided to meet. He invited me to a Chiefs game, but I didn't want anyone to think I was just there for him. So I said, "If you win, I'll come." Ironically, Travis scored the winning touchdown that night. As soon as he left the field, my phone rang with 2 words. "You won." I laughed, knowing I had no choice. Our first meeting was at a small, private restaurant in Kansas City. He wore a gray sweater, very casual. So did I. But when he walked in, it felt like all the noise around us disappeared. Our eyes sparkled as we had dinner, talked late into the night, and parted with a long hug we still talk about. If you want more stories like this, subscribe for exclusive moments and updates.